afternoon. Good to be out here with the first official day, the first official practice of game plan installation for us today. Just mostly first and second down work and that type of thing. And now tomorrow we'll come back and the travel squad guys will lift. The non-travel guys will have a little bit of a workout here in the bubble with us. And then we'll continue the installation on the field Thursday and Friday.
Your thoughts on Virginia Tech now that you've actually watched them a little bit and just
very athletic on defense. You know, I think they're the number. I think they're giving up less than 24 points a game. I forget exactly where they are on total defense, but they're in a good place in terms of their ranking. Very physically strong, very athletic. You know, I think they have a lot of guys on that defense that are going to have opportunities to play at the next level. You know, a little bit more of pressure than I think the people who've coached against them in the past would have said, you know, from years ago. But that's. But they're still playing their base defense as well, and they're still playing defense on a high level. I think Bud Foster's done a great job down there for a long time, and this certainly has all the signatures and markings of one of his defenses. And on offense, they've got a lot of talented players on offense. They've got a big receiver who can run and catches the ball well. But I think the key to what they do on offense really starts with their quarterback. He's their leading rusher, and obviously their leading passer being their quarterback. But he's their playmaker, and he's a special kind of player. He's I believe a projected first-round draft pick, and has really all the physical attributes that a Cam Newton has. Are very similar. Not that you want to make those type of comparisons, but he's got a similar skill set, and he's a similar type body and a similar type player. So I think we got to minimize his effect on the game if we're going to have any chance to slow him down on offense.
Is there any difficulty jumping from right into game prep now instead of just kind of like younger guys and getting reps and everything?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. I think we've done it enough this year, and the older guys, and that's most of the travel squad are really guys who've been through this process before. They're used to it and they get it. They understand how the ball preparation goes, and now we kind of change the speed of it a little bit and change the emphasis of it. And, for the younger guys, like I said, we're still going to get them one more workout tomorrow and have one more chance to develop them on their own, aside from what they're doing every day here in practice with us.
Is their quarterback, their leading rusher, at a necessity or by design? Because it doesn't look like they have much of a running attack after that.
I believe they've had some injuries to their running back pool, and again, with them not being in our league, it's not really something that I could speak to completely. But I do know this about their offense. A lot of their offense has a read aspect to it, where they're going to hand the ball off if you give them one look, and they may keep it if you give them another look, and then they have designed ways to run the quarterback to make sure you can't completely eliminate him from the game plan. I think he's a special athlete. Now, having been in offenses where you do run the quarterback but you're not exclusively a running football team, the offenses I've been a part of, we always wanted to make sure we had control over the number of touches because, again, with every carry, there's certainly risk-reward involved. But I think it's probably a little bit of both. I think it might be a little bit of necessity, but they do have talented running backs. So, again, I like their running backs when I see them on film. And I think he's just such a special runner. They got to have a certain number of plays a game where he's got to touch it.
How much was Brandon Jones able to do at practice today?
Because we didn't have shoulder pads on today, Brandon really did everything. And now we're going to evaluate how he recovers tomorrow and see how he feels. And then when we do put the shoulder pads on Thursday, we'll have a little bit better idea by then of what we think he can do. But he really looked good running around. I was very pleased.
Kyle, did you need to talk to the team about them being away for Christmas and all that stuff? I know.
It's the third time it's happened since I've been here, and I think it's one of those things during bowl season that happens to quite a few teams around the country. So I don't think it was a surprise. I didn't actually address it other than to tell them that Christmas Day we will have an open family type party that they can attend if that's something they want to do. Just as their families, whoever's going to be down there, are making plans, they know what's going to be available to them. But aside from that, I did not address it.
Do you expect PJ Fleck to get a head coaching job this quickly? Obviously, he was on track for that, right?
I don't know if you ever can predict the timetable of something like that. If you would ask me, was I surprised? I'm not surprised. I always felt, having worked with PJ for a couple of years, that at some point he was going to get an opportunity to be a head coach, and he's one of my closest friends in this business. I certainly wish him well, and I have no doubt in my mind he'll do a great job there, and he will certainly infuse energy into that program out there and do a spectacular job. And I did also hear that he's a new daddy today, so that's kind of neat to hear.
Was there anything about Nick Borghese that kind of led you to believe that he could handle the place kicking duty after Kyle went down?
Yeah, when Kyle got hurt, he won the kicking competition we had the following day.
So you said he went 4 for 4 in that kicking competition. You remember that?
We kicked more than 4.
Okay.
He might be embellishing a little bit, but we had a little kicking competition that Sunday night here in the bubble, and he won it, and that was really the determining factor. And he's done a great job because, in the beginning I wasn't certainly going to be tied to that decision for the rest of the year, but with his performance, he's tied himself to that decision for the rest of the year. I think he's done a great job. I'm really excited about what he's done, and I was excited to see Cal Federico kick today, at full speed, and see him do that. So we're hopefully working towards him having, possibly some role in the game, or at the very least being a backup in the game. So that's great to have him back as well.
With Federico, if he can't kick in a bowl game, he'll be ready for spring, or is there any concern that it's that kind of injury?
I don't have any doubt that he'll be ready to kick in the bowl game if we need him. It'll be just a matter of, do we want to make a switch at that position? Nick's done such a good job. I don't anticipate making a switch at this point, but I have no doubt that Kyle would be ready after watching him today.